That'll be pretty good.
All right, well, let's make sure I get the YouTube set up before I jump to the next thing and get the old IG going if it works this time. Last time it didn't work. All right, now it's working. Who knows what goes on in the IT world?
Is this Calder? No, this isn't.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
That's from Calder. Oh, I was there. I missed it. I hit the wrong button.
And you're off.
There it is.
And you're on.
That's the button I was looking for.
Oh, look, we're live.
All right, let's hint the audio. It's going to be loud for the music, but then after that, it'll be great.
This is the OKest Hunter podcast. Never pass on
You done it.
box.
Here we go.
Cheers,
1, 2,
guys.
3.
It's your tag. You hunt how you want. This is OKest Hunter.
Welcome back to the OKest Hunter podcast. If you're a long-time listener, hopefully we got some first-time callers on this one, or anybody else want this maple vodka?
I mean, the maple sounded delicious, but I don't know if I can do vodka right now.
Is your liver slightly pickled?
Not slightly.
Oh, that's really like
Pretty good.
It's not heavy.
Is it smooth?
Yeah, it's really nice.
Good.
It's definitely not bourbon though, which is interesting. That's what I'm used to drinking.
Looks like bourbon, but it doesn't
It
taste
does.
like
I thought it was bourbon until I learned how to read.
Well, good on you.
Glad you learned how to read.
Maple syrup flavored vodka. Yeah,
Yo,
so-
man.
These labels are good for something.
Good thing you saw the vodka and not just the maple and stuck
Right.
it in the
Yeah,
fridge. You're like,
right.
yeah, kids, go for it.
Hey, some pancakes. So some Northwoods maple syrup. That's how they do it up north.
Yes.
Holy cow.
I'll put a little lead in your pencil.
Well, we have we'll jump around, okay? Because I'm still just getting my bear. It's off a holiday weekend. I don't know what
Yep.
the hell's going on. Kids are back to school. Everything's kittywampus. And then boom, first day back is like let's go do podcast too. And you drove down from up north.
Yep.
Tom,
Almost 4 hours.
can we call you Tom or is it Thomas? Do you care?
Whatever. I say Thomas because it's on my license, but everybody
Oh.
calls me Tom. And my wife has called me worse. So
They all have. Well, Tom is with Henry Repeating Arms. You drove down from up north. I think you
Rice
guys are
Lake,
in
yeah.
Rice Lake, and
Yep.
that's where you are also.
yeah, as of 2018.
Okay. And you brought this nice gift with you too.
That
How
was-
long have you been with Henry?
2005.
Oh, so for a while.
Yeah, we started in Brooklyn, New York. So I've been through the Brooklyn facility, and then we moved to New Jersey in 2008. Moved with him there, and now in Rice Lake. So
Wow.
one of the few. My wife and I both actually we work together. So kind of
That's
journeyman
why
and
she's
woman.
called you worse.
Oh yeah,
Or
yeah.
better.
Yeah,
I
she's
don't know.
definitely my better half.
That's great. Well, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah,
we
thanks for the
are
invite.
brought to you by Nosler, which I think is a very fitting episode
Mhm.
because you know some of those folks over there. We chatted a little bit before you came down here, and you
Yep.
brought a toy with you, which you raided
Not
someone
a toy.
else's.
Not a
you-
toy.
no,
It's
no,
a tool.
yeah,
it's a tool.
And you happen to raid someone else's space on your way into here.
Yeah. We so I got the color scheme, and I knew that you had the orange door, but on the other side apparently there were apartments, and there was one cracked open, and I thought it was an invitation, and opened it up, and yeah, it wasn't this room. So, here I am now.
He survived.
Yeah.
It's a story that's going to live here for a little while.
Oh, yeah.
'cause that hasn't happened yet, and I'm sure it won't be the last time.
Oh, you can leave it to me,
Like,
man.
it's
That's-
going to happen again, which tells me that you fit in here just great. Because like, if it wasn't you, I'm surprised it wasn't me.
Yeah.
You know, like
Well, if you know me better, it would make perfect sense. So. And then the toy that I brought was it actually came about from the conversation we had on the phone last week. You'd mentioned bringing something for show and tell. So I'm sitting there racking my brains trying to figure out, do I take the latest and greatest, or what should I take? And the whole time I'm thinking about it, the gun I sighted in for bear season next week is sitting there in the corner across from me. And it also wears a Vortex optic, which is, they're local to you guys. So I was like,
Mhm.
all right, that's the one. So
Nice.
that's what I have. It's a single shot and 360 buck hammer.
Out to do some business.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
single. Geez, when's the last time? Hey, do you go bear hunting every year?
So I've never drawn a Wisconsin tag. This is my first Wisconsin bear hunt, and actually never hunted over bait. I do the spring bear season in Montana every year that I can for the last 12. So I think I've been out there about 6 times. But
There's no bears out there. It's
no,
totally safe.
Well, it got tougher. Like when we first started hunting that area, it was after a fresh burn. So there was actually a lot of clear stuff, and a lot of the newer like foibs were coming up.
Tons
and,
of grasses. For them to eat.
tons of clover. So the logging companies planted clover on the mountain roads to keep the erosion down.
Yep.
Mhm.
And they would just come out at dawn and dusk and munch on the roads. But fast forward 12 years, a lot of that stuff has grown up, and the hunting the last few years has been very tough. Like
Oh,
just went from seeing 10, 12 bears a week to seeing maybe one if we're lucky.
interesting. So do you have higher hopes for Wisconsin?
Based on the Outfitters Facebook page, yes, he's been posting some good activity. So
So has he been running the baits? And then
Yeah.
you'll be able to go up there and sit it.
yeah.
And I believe the dogs run first this year, if I'm not correct, if I'm not mistaken.
I think dogs are now, and I think we are allowed to sit starting next week on the 10th.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Cool. So we'd be out there on the first day that sitters can sit.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sweet.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
So talk about I guess let's back up a bunch because we could go down all these. We're going to get to all these rabbit holes.
Sure.
But let's talk about Henry because you said you've been with the company since 2005, and like Henry's been a brand way before that. But this isn't like, maybe I'm misspeaking, but there's been Henry, and then you guys kind of picked up the brand and have built it out since
Yes.
more modern time.
So it's kind of a resurrection.
Okay, thank you. So I'm not totally off my
of the
rocker.
name, yeah, which is not uncommon in the industry, like Springfield Armory, for example. Armalite, High Standard. Those are all historic names that were either bought by somebody or brought new life by new owners, etc. So we actually were incorporated in '97, and it was essentially my boss, the owner founder, was looking for a name with a historical tie-in, and we already had a lever gun in the lineup. It was the H001. It was a rimfire 22. So he was looking for something to tie that together, and turned out that Henry wasn't taken by anybody. So
That's awesome.
Henry Repeating Arms it was.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah.
What other brands aren't taken right now? Anyway?
And how fitting to be a rimfire 22 lever gun, because what's more fun than that?
Yeah, I mean, there's very little that you can't do with it in a pinch.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be the first option for self-defense or hunting, but that
No.
could be employed that way, depending on how.
Depending on what you're hunting, though. Like if you're hardcore into squirrels and you're done deer hunting,
Oh, for sure.
it's fun to go out and
Gives you a little bit of the deer feel with the lever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like then you're just
tracking
pew
through.
pewing
Yeah.
the big fluffy tails.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I dig it. I know what you're saying.
See,
I feel small game is overlooked anyway. I
It
mean,
way is.
it's like there's so many guys that look down on it and like, oh, that's kid stuff. Like I find that in the early season, I shoot as much small game as possible because it gets me kind of like to settle down, so that by the time I start
Yeah,
seeing
so-
deer,
Itchy in the trigger finger.
yeah, because you haven't been aiming at anything walking for 9 months, and it gives you a little bit like cools your blood down a little bit for sitting in the stand.
It's a good way to look at it.
and I actually like doing it late season after deer season's done. And I don't know, just something about a crispy, cold winter morning, watching for bushy tails up in the trees and
Mm-hmm.
waiting for that first movement of the day, and you get a bonus rabbit once in a while when you kick into a brush pile. It's pretty sweet.
Well, and they stay active past,
Yeah.
a lot of other stuff has gone like into hibernation or
Mhm.
just,
Yeah.
low key.
And if you're on your feet moving about, it's deer hunting is like can be pretty tiresome after a while. Like,
Yeah.
man, I want to move, and so that you can. I guess I'm not surprised because every niche has its like, the naysayers and the people that just bring crap down.
Mm-hmm.
Which is probably why I think we exist in this particular space. Like,
Pretty good
I'm not
chance.
surprised that there's a problem in small game. I just wouldn't look down on it. And your point about it being, it's like for kids. I told Derek this when we were hanging cams. I said, being in the woods is the only thing that I'm aware of, short of like getting a ground level with my kids, that keeps my childlike spirit alive.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, my kids won't be kids. So how else
Right.
am I going to do that? By being in the woods. And if shooting small game is for little kids, then sign me up.
Absolutely.
Like, because that sounds fun,
yes.
you know?
Absolutely.
And that may be a little bit of the northern Wisconsin side of it, because I know if you go a little bit further south and jump the river, like Minnesota, very strong squirrel hunting. I mean, like I know plenty of deer hunters who get pissed because the squirrel hunters are so hardcore. They're like going back miles and shooting squirrels.
Well, even in my younger years too, bow hunting, we'd be all jacked up to go for opening day, and like clockwork, like an hour before prime time, you. No, that's a 22. And you hear a pow, pow. That's 20 gauge. And you hear another 22 go off, and it's slowly getting closer. Going, yeah, I'm not seeing any deer for opening day, but I'll see a few squirrel hunters for sure. But they're hardcore into it, man.
Yeah,
They love it.
So what's the what is Henry known for, and what do you want? Like, is there any misalignment with what it is known for by like your hardcore like followers, customers versus what you? Are there any misconceptions or things that you could like myth bust while you're here?
I wouldn't say misconceptions. I think we're broader than we ever were. We started very rimfire centric, heavy emphasis on blued steel and walnut. And, as time went on over these 20 years, there's more of a market for synthetic stocked guns. Now we're in like the space cowboy lever gun trend. It's I think plateaued, but was a craze 1 or 2 years ago, which is not my particular cup of tea. But there's so many different ways to get into this world, and I think we wouldn't be serving our consumer base if we ignored the demand. So you get to a certain point where you kind of have to leave your personal tastes aside, and you just acquiesce to what the masses tell you they want. And I'm still
give the people what they want.
Yeah,
give them what they want.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, I'm a traditionalist. Like I call myself the curmudgeon of the bunch, because I know what I'm going to gravitate toward. I like Depression era Remington Winchester aesthetics, where everything is slim and trim. Wood steel, blued steel and walnut.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that that's not everybody. Like there's going to be people that they want Cerakote and they want a synthetic stock, and they wouldn't ever hunt a wood stocked rifle. So you can't tell them that they're wrong, because they're not. They like something else.
Preference.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
interesting.
As time goes on, I think our catalog is ever expanding, ever evolving with the current trends and tastes.
And it all, like you said, it started with the rimfire. When you talk about it's ever expanding, are there areas where like you had your customers tell you like, I'd love for you to do this, or I'd love for you to do that, or do you have this, or do you have that? Are you getting any market feedback as you continue to expand and push into new areas?
Constantly. I mean, we have our ear to the ground. I answer upward of like 700 emails myself personally every week.
God.
We have marketing guys that they dive into like the metrics and do the stuff that old people like me can't do. But
we're gonna build what now?
yeah. But so all of the above, and I think that there are going to be instances where somebody's asks for something, and you'd probably sell 3 or 4 of them, and you can't justify the tooling expense. But by and large, we'll crunch the numbers, and if we see like a consistent request for X product, then it's spoken about internally, and that's how everything is born with us. It's a little committee we have, and we get together, and it's all the guys and girls that have input, and we come out of a room with a direction and hope it works.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm willing to bet. So someone had commented right out of the gate, and we know this fella said, "I absolutely love my Henry rifle. Holy cow, Henry, that's amazing." So like, someone's already enthused that you're on the podcast. I'd be curious to know what they're shooting for, which specific rifle they have. And by the way, I'll just call this out now, so I'll probably do it again. But the phone line is open. The number's on the screen. So if you're watching live, it's 262-757-4122. We'll bring you into the show. I got all the kinks worked out, I think. So we can take calls, and everyone should be able to hear everybody, and it's all good. You can comment also, and we're happy to take comments. But if you have questions, this is a great opportunity to ask. You guys said you started in New York. You're in Wisconsin. You specifically are in Wisconsin. Now, are all operations now in Wisconsin? Is that correct? And what's the reasoning here? Like, that's a big move.
So they're all consolidated to Wisconsin. Both we have the main facility in Rice Lake, and there's also a facility in Ladysmith, primarily making components to feed assembly in Rice Lake. New Jersey facility existed for 17 years after we left Brooklyn, and it got to the point where I think a lot of the SKUs that were made there were the legacy models that began to mature, and their sales volume started to slow a little bit. And then the overall, there was additional operating expenses operating in a highly regulated state. And I think it just slowly started to make more sense to consolidate operations to Rice Lake. I mean, that's where most of the machining was. The design was all centered there, and it was tough. It was definitely bittersweet. I went out there twice in April, and I'm moving stuff out that I put in there, and I feel kind of like
you're like, why am I feeling emotional about this?
I felt like I was paying penance for like loading up some of the areas. People were I would get calls from New Jersey like, we're full on gun cases. And I'm like, yeah, it's a big place. And like I go there, I'm like, wow, we got a lot of gun cases.
Oh my god!
I felt like it was it was deserved that I had to go in there and move some of it out. But
we're gonna make you do it,
so
you can feel it. Yeah. Oh man, that's wild.
Yeah, and then we had so many great people there. I mean, I was saying goodbye to people that I've known for 20 years and knew I probably wouldn't see again under most circumstances. So it was emotional for sure.
Interesting. Well, I think just candidly, like I'm not a gun guy. Derek, I think you're probably a step above me, maybe two.
I've got some guns.
Greg's like probably 8 steps or 10 steps above both of us.
Why is that put on me?
You just can speak to it better. I don't know what your
my
fascination with guns are.
To be fair, my dad had his federal firearms license, and I got to see my share of guns come in our house and get fixed and repaired.
Yeah,
and I got to shoot all sorts of cool stuff. So,
I mean, you have a reloading book.
Yeah, I have a book, but I haven't used it yet.
Have done that? Like you've
Dad used to do a bunch of it.
And there's no and so I say that just to set the tone of I don't know the best questions. I'm a shitty host today because I don't know the best questions to ask. And
no, you're not. You got this far.
Believe me,
we made it 7 minutes 48 seconds.
You didn't look at your watch once.
Oh, look at the time.
Was it Theo Vaughn that said, this whole time I've had no idea what I'm doing, guys. I feel like that message really resonated with me.
It's all right. Nobody does.
That's true. But I just wonder, so we talk about small game for like a half a second. We started with bear. So there's a big difference between the size of the animal there. And so in my mind, when I see a Henry rifle, perception of an outsider on looking in is these do seem like they're primarily for smaller game, but they do ladder up into, I can shoot whitetail, I can shoot bear. And on the whitetail side, I can't help but think of like a Hal Blood wearing a green flannel in the Northwoods tracking a hoof. With a lever that's his. I don't know which one he uses.
It's not. It's actually a 7600 pump. It's a Remington.
It's different. So these are the things I want to know.
And it's in an .6. So .6 has been around for a
know
long time. And what?
No, why me? This is why because you know stuff.
Come on, man.
Why me?
It's actually hysterical that you name dropped Hal because he was just out in Rice Lake 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. We'll be doing some stuff with Big Woods Bucks.
That's
cool. Okay, so that's cool. I love those guys.
And we've had them on. We had one of their guys on.
Yeah, they're good dudes.
Derek is small woods bucks because he's small, but the woods are big.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh, that's brutal.
My wife took a picture. She loves to bring this up whenever I'm in trouble, which is a lot. We're on our honeymoon in Cancun, sitting by the pool, relaxing, and I'm reading Hal Blood's book, tracking Big Woods Bucks.
Nice.
At the pool in Cancun. She's like, you can't let deer hunting go for 5 days on our honeymoon. I was like, it's really good. I got to keep going.
That's cool. He'll love to hear that. They're great guys.
No,
well, but that's so when I see Henry, that's where my mind goes, and that there's like a romanticism there. I think
hunting whitetails, still hunting whitetails in the Northwoods, like it is a pretty romantic idea to be on the track with a lever gun in hand.
Yeah.
Whether it probably be a classic 30-30, or if you like stuff that blows bigger holes, it might be a 45-70. But either way, a lever gun has always been probably in just plain old blued steel with a walnut stock on it.
Yeah.
But you guys make some pretty interesting variations of it too with some of the
I've heard
brass.
The term blued steel 3 or 4 times now. I need someone to
It's the same thing as your rifle is blued steel.
Okay.
I noticed that seemed to resonate with him. I thought I struck a chord when I mentioned some of the vintage guns, and I saw like a little.
you see-
a
did
little
you
see me
spark.
go
yeah.
like this?
Yeah, I was like, it sent a shiver down his spine. He kind of
Dude,
like
there's something
feels so
about
good.
it, man.
Feels so good when you talk about vintage stuff.
You sick son
a
of a
big boy?
gun.
So you both kind of hit it. I mean, you alluded to the newer stuff, which like I said at the beginning, is not necessarily my cup of tea. But I get where some people have reservations about a Woodstock rifle. I've never seen
I
one
like
crack.
that personally. The Woodstock is.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, to me, it tells a story, right? Like
Yeah.
every little ding on a walnut stock is, you remember going over a fence, you remember like, biting it when you tripped on a pile of rocks or whatever. And,
Yeah.
Or you don't remember
Yep.
something.
yeah.
How did that
I'm
get
actually,
there?
I'm thinking of that happening to me because one time I landed with my gun in front of me like that, and I looked up to make sure it wasn't broken first before I checked myself. But so it goes both ways. And then there's other guys that see it strictly as a tool, and they don't want to damage, especially a pretty stock, and they want to hunt with synthetics. So you have all types. But when you mentioned the romance, like to me, it's a full immersion experience.
Mhm.
So like all that old school stuff, like the smell of the hoppies, the smell of like
Yes,
the
smell the
bourbon
hoppies.
after the hunt, the Filson or the wearing woolies and all that, like all of that speaks to me. But it's I'm just about the soul of it. I like that old school stuff. I don't then I have friends and relatives that they want to paint their face and wear like a ghillie suit or whatever, and that's their jam. But like I'm not about the SEAL mission in the woods, so I just
I'm just curious. So with the company and having such a strong tradition, you guys make some beautiful firearms. Would you say that most of the people who are buying yours are using them strictly for hunting, or do you have people who kind of use these as like, they're shooting and then they kind of sit in the gun case and just look awesome and iconic and traditional, or like, is it mostly guys buying it for hunting purposes?
I think we have everything, honestly.
So I could see that, like in my mind, like, man, this is like a beautiful gun to hang above and like put on the wall
Yeah,
almost.
I mean, you can see a cowboy shooter, putting it in his scabbard alongside his horse and off the saddle and using it in cowboy competition right along with a 6-shooter. And you guys offer those too.
Yeah, and we try to hit all those different levels, and based on reception at like NRA show is our best consumer show. And they'll come up to you and like they'll point to like the Golden Boy commemoratives especially, and they'll say like, oh, I've collected every one of these. They're like potato chips. You can't have just one. And that guy's got like a safe full of like 35 of them and sends us pictures. And he's just all about collecting them and looking at them and takes them out, watches westerns and levers them in front of the TV.
Oh my
whatever.
God!
And then
love
Like
then
a
there-
kid
then there are
just sitting in
people
front of
that
the floor.
yeah, and then there are people that they're diehard hunters, and they use it, and it's their regular everyday hunting rifle. So it's all
I like
types.
to
really.
use my stuff just like I like to drink my bourbon. Like,
Yeah.
there's no
Vodka?
collection.
Did you mean your vodka?
Yeah, bourbon, but vodka today. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm-
some people collect it. I don't know.
I see both sides
I
of
do,
it. I mean,
yeah.
because I come from the Northeast and space was at a premium when I was an apartment dweller, especially, I didn't have the luxury of being able to spread my collection out. So I had a hard and fast rule. Like if it wasn't used in a year,
Yep.
it went,
Mhm.
but that's just me. Then I have like the cabin that we spring bear hunt out of in Montana. My good friend Darren, I mean, he's a serious collector of all types of guns.
Mhm.
So it takes all types.
Yeah.
There was a question that came in. It'll pop up on the screen in a second. We do have a caller hanging out, so I'll see who that is. The question in the comments said, I don't know if this will get answered. Well, it's gonna. Well, I think. But as a Michigan hunter, what is the reason a 450 or a 350 hasn't or can't be produced in a lever gun?
Yeah. You and I were talking about that a little bit on the 350 way. It's kind of difficult, but go ahead. Talk about that.
350 in particular, we've just had some trouble with not the overall length of the cartridge, but the bullet geometry. Just something with the ogive and the way it presents in our receiver just didn't seem to play nice. So that didn't go very far. 450 we'll still be taking a look at, but currently we have the 350 in a single shot.
Okay. We do have a caller. We'll get them in here. Looks like we got Cody McLaughlin on the line. Let's see. Hopefully you can hear us. Cody, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. How are you guys?
Good. And
Doing
we
good.
We can hear you, I think, right, everybody?
Oh yeah.
let's check with our followers on the live stream. Can everybody else listening? Can someone comment? They can hear Cody.
I can hear him.
Hopefully, we get a comment. Usually, what happens is our listeners can't hear the caller. But I think we got it figured out. So, Cody, what's going on, man? You got a question for Thomas here?
No questions. I was just calling because I was watching you guys at my stepdaughter's softball game here. So
just better think. Yeah, you're like,
Couldn't
you know what? I'm going to call these
actions on
boys.
his mind.
yeah, no, I got rained out, so I'm hiding in the car.
There you go.
I was watching the podcast live stream.
That's fantastic.
So I figured I'd check in with you guys and see how your early fall's going.
Well, I know you're up in Alaska. So what are you shooting up there? Like what's like, are you doing any bear hunting? We've been talking about bear hunting a little bit. We've been flirting with it. We're probably going to dive in fully here because I know you're probably chomping at the bit to show that thing off and talk about your hunt.
Sure.
Yeah. Cody, what's going on up in Alaska?
No. Yeah. Well, yesterday was the duck season and the bear season opener for brown bears in my unit. And so I do have plans this week to go out stalking a creek that I was taking some guys from the Congressional Sportsman Foundation fishing on last week because we saw a bunch of bear tracks, but we saw one in particular. This bear track was as big as Brent Miller's foot, which is a size 14 boot. And
geez,
it's a good size pad.
On that creek. So I'm planning to go back to that creek either tomorrow or the next day, and just kind of walk it all night. See if I can get a bear off of some salmon carcasses that are kind of piling up on the creeks because we got a good salmon run this year. But yesterday was actually the duck season opener too, and I took my now 10-year-old soon-to-be adopted daughter out, and she shot her first duck on the wing. So.
Heck yeah! Congrats!
Nice. Good job, man.
Shot one more than me.
That's a memory.
Yeah. She tried to water swat and missed, and wouldn't you figure she shot it right out of the sky when it lifted off.
She likes the challenge.
It was a cool moment for her because, it was a cool moment for her because she was like, she hesitated and she's like, I can't shoot it. She's like talking to her mother, and her mother's like, well, you might as well try. And then bang, she blasted it right out.
You might as well try.
That was a big confidence boost for her.
That's awesome.
Some of my best memories are hunting with my daughter, so that's what it's all about.
Yeah, I'm excited to get my kids more and more involved every year. You've been doing a lot more with Gus. I've noticed he's leveling up.
I mean, you gotta make him go the first couple times, but after that it gets better.
Yeah, you gotta do the come on, we're going.
Yeah, you don't have a choice. You're coming with me.
Yeah, no, the first couple times, especially when it was rainy and cold, she's like, "What? You want to go hunting? Today is ugly." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's when the ducks will be moving."
Yeah.
So learn to love bad weather, honey, because we're gonna be out there in the rain and the snow.
So Cody, when you take off down that creek to look for bears on the salmon carcasses, are you just going to be still hunting like along the bank, or how are you going about that? Do you do any spotting, or is it kind of just creeping along till you come across?
Now there'll be no spotting on a creek like that. I'll be still hunting, basically. I mean, I bump into them all summer long on the creeks, and so they'll be scooping up salmon and I mean, it's funny. Last year, a few weeks before the season started, it was a really bad salmon run, so we didn't have carcasses on the creek very long. But I came around a corner and spooked one small, like 6 or 7 foot brown bear, and it was funny. I came around. I lost my last favorite fly, the rubber leg stimulator, on a real deep like hole underneath a branch.
Oh, there's a lot of language right now.
I shout, and I drop an F-bomb, right? Like top of my lungs. I'm like, shit, I get all mad. And then all I hear is a splash from around the corner. So I peeked around the corner, and this bear is standing 2 hind legs on the bank and two back legs in the water looking back over his shoulder at me. And I go, oh, hell no. And then I ran his way, and I turned around and walked back to my truck.
That's
So,
crazy. But you got to be used to a little bit of that
Um,
being up there. Like, I'd be pooping my pants.
Oh yeah, well, the first time you see one of them, especially a big one, like the first time I saw one, I was hunting alone. I got dropped off by a bush plane up in Kodiak at aptly named in the Terror Lake area of Kodiak.
Perfect.
It's up in the mountains at this alpine lake. I know, and I was actually I had just dropped trout to hit the heads, as it were, and then this bear just comes waddling out of the bush, and he must have been 9 foot, all of 9 foot tall, and it just looked like a Suburban with fur, and I was like, and it was the first time this was the first year I moved up here, and it was the first time I had seen one in the wild. Like I had seen him at a distance to some degree, but like he was like 150 yards away, right? And I was like, holy crap. And if I hadn't already been going to the bathroom, I'd have crapped my pants.
Just came out a little faster. Butthole perking up real nice there.
That dropping trout came in real handy at that moment.
Grizzly laxative.
Yeah, no. Although it was funny because, like, I bought the 10 mil, and Eric, you and I have talked about this before. I bought the 10 mil originally because I was told, I was told to buy a 357 Magnum or something like huge, but I was like, I want to be able to shoot more bullets if a brown bear charges me. But I'm thinking to myself, 220 grain, that's fine, that's plenty to take down a bear. And the first time I saw one, I was like, this is not enough.
Did you file the front sight off that 10 mil?
Say what?
Did you file the front sight off that 10 mil?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you should have, because it'll hurt less when you pull it out of your ass after the grizzly stuffs it up there.
That's good advice.
Well,
That's good advice. 'Cause I'm telling you,
I love how Cody's thinking, like,
lay
what the hell's
eyes
this
on
guy
them,
talking about?
20 grain.
Could hear the inner voice on that one.
Yeah, well, the 220 grain looks awful small when you look at one of them up close. I'll tell you that. But it's funny because I see them all summer long fishing, and I've been trying to get them on a creek bed the last couple of years, and I just cannot find one when I'm out hunting for them. You know what I mean? So
it's like deer and turkey season and turkey and deer season. Yeah. That's wild.
Yeah.
Well, dude.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
Thanks for calling in. Was this your first time calling into the podcast?
Yeah. I like I said, I was watching the game, or half watching my stepdaughter's game, and decided I'd give you guys a shout.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. It's good to hear from you on the show, even.
Best of luck when bear season opens.
Yeah, no doubt.
Or when you get out there, sorry.
And I'm half distracted because I'm reading your comments coming in.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, have a good one. Good luck to your daughter in a game.
Have a good one.
All right. See you.
That's cool.
He's a good dude. And up in Alaska is a whole different.
Oh yeah,
thing.
that's like the Mecca.
Yeah, he's just. I mean, every photo he posts, I'm like, oh, look what you got to do today, Cody. How nice. I'm in a basement working.
Yeah.
Would brown bear be on your list ever to go give that a try, or what do you think?
Where I hunt in Montana, there is a sizable brown bear population. In fact, he and I were talking before about the potential for delisting them. But every time they talk about it, it seems like it gets bogged down in the courts. But we see sign, in the first grizz I saw in the field that, just to his point, like the first time you see one, it's all day you're glassing, you see black bear, and then you see this thing that looks like a linebacker, and it's just like, it's a different animal altogether, So I don't know. The Alaska thing is probably too rich for my blood currently. I have kids in college, but I don't know. And I'm also more.
So parenting doesn't get cheaper. Okay,
no.
Duly noted. Perfect.
I'm primarily a meat hunter. Brown bear they don't have the same table appeal.
No,
but
Derek, there's a black bear. The crazy, disgusting story you shared a few years ago, right? That was a black bear hunt.
Yeah,
the bear in the cooler.
The head, the euro.
Yeah, but the meat was good.
Meat was great.
You probably don't want to have it after that. After a while.
Well, good thing is I think I ate most of the meat before I realized that the Euro that wasn't yet Euroed was still in the cooler.
Oh, you had to go nasty on you?
Oh yeah, I put it in the cooler with ice. Just I fleshed it out, so it was just the
Yeah.
head and the rest of it. And in the haste of getting back like late on a Sunday, I put it like in the garage or somewhere. I'll get to that later. And then once a day goes by, it might as well be a year because it was a while. It wasn't a year, but I mean, it was like probably a month or two. And when I opened it,
Did you get a skull out of it at least?
no. The whole thing. I just was like, I can't do it. It was not a very big bear. So like I already had a bigger one. I was like, this one I'm done with.
So had we known each other at the time, I had a coworker who dropped his pretty nice deer off to a taxidermist who never got to it. So he knew that I did a couple of skulls on my own. And he said, would you mind taking a look at it? I don't know how far it's gone. So I was like, it's January. How bad could it be? Everything's frozen solid. He shows up with this like moldy ass thing, and like, but I told him I was going to do it, so I was like, all right, I'm already committed, and so I went through with it. So if we had known each other at the time,
yeah, timing is everything.
You would have vomited.
Yeah. Well, I can throw it out there. No, it will never happen again. So
good man.
That's funny.
Sorry.
Well, no, this has been like a pretty. So can we see the one you brought?
Oh yeah, sure.
Then
you guys don't just make awesome lever guns. You do have single shots, which I think are pretty cool. Like that's something that a lot of people are like, well, I want more than one shot. Well, if you have a good single shot and you've got a good rest, you don't need more than one.
I mean, I've found with all the stuff I've shot, my first shot was always the best, and I can tell you, every time I emptied a magazine at something, I never hit it at all.
Yeah.
Go figure. That's a good point, actually.
So the single shot is, I mean, it's never done me wrong, and I just treat it like bow hunting. I figure I'm going to wait for the best shot that presents, and when you're that discerning about that shot, you find that your placement magically improves. So
magically,
that.
I love that.
Judging by the sounds of opening weekend and here in Wisconsin, I don't think that's everyone's agenda.
No,
probably not.
Definitely not.
Because I've heard a couple guys go through a box or two a shot.
Yeah, and I've been guilty too. I wasn't like some kind of instant, one shot wonder. I mean, it took years.
It's nice.
Yeah. So just a visual for everybody.
Yes, thank you. So this is the one that's going to put a bear down next week.
I'm hoping, yeah.
So walk us through this one.
So this is a single shot break action. It's our H15 series single shot rifle. This one happens to be in 360 buckhammer, and it's a cartridge we worked with Remington on, and it's got similar ballistics to other straight wall cartridges, but a little bit larger bullet diameter, a little bit more horsepower.
So what grain bullet is that you're going to shoot?
I'm going to use the 220 that just came on the market about 6 months ago.
That ought to do the trick.
And then Vortex optic on here, huh?
Yeah, so
This is heavy. This is nice.
We were talking about the show and tell, and I looked across the room and saw the gun I just sighted in. I was like, all right, that's the one I should bring.
Yeah.
The weight on here is
Why
really
not?
great.
Yeah, it's right where it needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
I love it says Henry right here on the hammer.
Well, and as a lefty, you can pick up this gun
Yeah,
and
it's
shoot it.
ambidextrous.
It's ambidextrous.
Oh, really? Okay.
Some
you
of them
are-
are not,
you're
by the
left-handed?
way. I am.
Yeah.
Well, no. I'm right-handed, but I'm left-eye dominant.
Okay,
So I do
yeah.
all my shooting lefty.
Yeah, but it is one of the true ambidextrous action types that you can get.
Very nice.
And also, so you mentioned the single shot being a potential handicap, but if you had like a side saddle on that, you see the way it breaks open, you can get pretty quick.
Can get pretty quick with it.
There are
And the
guys,
break even goes right or left,
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
which is pretty awesome.
Uh-huh.
Lefty doesn't work so good.
No.
This mic is not ambidextrous. That's a beautiful gun.
Yeah.
I think the mic is ambidextrous. Grizzly Adams did have a beard.
Says here George Washington's teeth were made of wool.
The internet it's never wrong. So it's your first Wisconsin bear hunt. So it's black bear.
Yeah.
Then and is it did you say it was in the Shawmonigan? Is that where you're gonna be?
No, it's closer to home. Actually, the outfitter is a guy near Ladysmith, Twin Creek Outfitters,
Okay.
Who I just found Googling, because it turns out that unlike other states I've hunted black bear, that's area specific
Hmm.
or zone specific rather.
Mhm.
So when I put in, I realized like, oh, it's for this zone. So then I started Googling who, had active baits in that zone and found this guy. He turned out to be close to our other facility in Ladysmith, and been checking his Facebook posts and looks pretty active. So
Sweet.
That's awesome.
hoping to connect.
I've the name Ladysmith has come across a few times with very large bears, which I don't know how big a bear you want to shoot because I don't ever want to drag out a 500-pound bear. But hey, if that's your cup of tea, you go knock one down.
Well, I
Man.
mentioned being a meat hunter. Like my first bear was a good sized bear. I mean, I was kind of spoiled on that one. He was like a 6 foot plus Montana bear that he was like 350 dressed in
That's
the
a
spring,
beautiful bear.
and
That's
that's a
huge.
big bear for the spring. So Fish and Game aged him at like 17 years old.
Oh my God.
And then
That's cool.
the next bear I shot was a color phase bear that was like a 200-pounder, but much better tasting than
Then a
the big.
17-year-old.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite wild game meat? Or like one that you enjoy cooking or eating the most?
Man, I like it all, but can I break it down into like
Yeah, I think that's a
birds
good
and-
idea.
Yeah.
so birds, dove, like
Okay.
hands down. Pheasant is like just dry to me.
Dry.
Yeah. It's very dry.
Yeah. Game meat, I don't know, man. I mean, like we probably eat more deer than anything just because that's what's there and it
Same.
just ends
Yeah.
up on the table. And I figured out so many ways to cook it. I mean, my daughter is crazy about like backstrap fajitas. Like I remember I took her on a hunt when she was like, must have been 8 years old. And, I didn't know how she'd react to seeing a deer actually shot. She had eaten it plenty of times up to that point, but never saw one get killed. So I shoot this doe and she like throws up her arms and she goes, backstrap fajitas. And I was like, okay.
That reminds me of
I
Logan. a little bit.
Right.
I guess we're good.
All good.
Still gonna eat it, right?
Where are the venison sticks?
Yeah,
Thing
exactly.
in there.
No, we got to get those produced.
And bear is a great one too. It's just my wife is not crazy about the idea of eating it. She finally
It's a bit
broke down and tried it
Watched
toward
too
the
much
end.
Winnie the Pooh as a kid.
No, I think the
Trichinosis.
when she found out that they were being checked, and then like the similarities between they and raccoons, and eating the same stuff, like for her was just a bridge too far. But she finally broke down and tried some of it. I made bear carnitas, which was like, I mean, it was phenomenal. Like you wouldn't know that this wasn't the best beef you ever had. It was
that sounds
seasoned
good.
and
I was just going to ask you if you had to make one dish with bear meat to convince someone that this is good meat, but it sounds like the bear carnitas. I mean, that's what I would actually love
That's
to
a great
have.
way to kind of mask some things because you got all
Absolutely.
the good stuff in
Yeah.
there.
yeah. Oh, and I can give you that recipe. It was.
Have
it
you
was banging.
have you had the bear ribs? You keep the ribs and ever make those?
I never had the ribs. No.
Oh, do it.
Yeah.
The bear, we've done it on every bear we've got. Fantastic
Really?
ribs. Yeah, really awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah, we did. So besides the carnitas, the lasagna was a big hit with both of my daughters. That was, I mean, but you wouldn't know that from any other ground meat once it's in the sauce and with like roasted vegetables and everything.
Smart.
Stews. It's anything that's either ground or like a low and slow.
Yep.
Which is probably why your ribs turned out so well.
Yes,
Did you
probably.
like smoke them or?
I think we just low and slowed them in the oven, with a little sear and then water and a tin foil
Mhm.
over them for
Let
a
it
long
steam,
time and
kinda.
let them steam up and kept them moist.
Yeah.
Very, very good. A lot of meat.
No.
A lot of meat.
They're delicious, and I mean they have to be managed like everything else. You
Yeah.
know, they really are like a big raccoon. They get into a lot of stuff, property damage, and just they come after. We raise like chickens and ducks every year, and my wife has rabbits, so we're like a predator magnet.
Yeah, you
They're
are.
always
You totally are.
they're always sniffing around the house.
Uh-huh.
That's funny. Interesting. Well, I'll switch it up just for a second because we have a question from our good friend Tony. He says, does Henry have a gunsmithing or custom shop department? For example, I have a fixed cylinder bore barrel on my lever action 410, but I'd like the interchangeable choke barrel to be put on it.
Unfortunately, we don't, but the guys at Briley, who are the company we source our production chokes from, they do a great job of that.
Oh, okay. Good to know.
Briley.
Yeah.
There you go, Tony.
If he wants to send me an email, I can get somebody at Briley to help him out.
And Tony, I can share his email with you post podcast if that's something you want to do, or you can go look up Briley. We're getting some good questions answered here.
Good.
I imagine you get these kind of questions often, so this isn't anything new.
Oh, all day, every day.
It's just you're on the spot.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Yeah,
I've been
you've been at it for a while, so it's like you probably heard most of it.
Oh, every time I think that, I'm wrong. I get new ones every day.
Yeah, well, that's good. It means people are intrigued. You're striking a chord. Yeah, but the meat question is mainly because like you talked about trigonosis, and I've heard that before with bear, and you were talking about bear a lot, and I'm like, everything I've heard, it sounds like it's really yummy, greasy, but then I've heard about and my wife would draw a hard line there because she doesn't trust my cooking. Anytime these two come over, she's like, why can't you learn to cook like Greg or Derek? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, why do I have to if I can invite him over?
Smart man.
But you guys like the party we threw that a couple years ago.
That was fun.
That was a good one.
Is your backstrap? Would you do stuffed backstrap?
Yeah, I mean
that was awesome.
That's kind of a rookie move too, to get anybody to like backstrap if they don't. But I mean, little cream cheese with onion and mushroom and garlic and bacon wrapped around it is pretty.
You had it caramelized all beautiful.
I did.
Come on, don't
good.
Downplay it. It was
pretty tasty.
It was pretty damn good.
Backstrap is a tough one to turn down, though, even for like the more apprehensive crowd. Like my wife is, she likes the best cuts, so she'll eat, inner loins, backstraps. By the time we're down to shanks, she's tapping out. I'm eating like, the huge, like slow cooked like things, or like, any of the scrap meat, and like forget about organ meat. That's just not going to happen, But she's all about like when it's perfect, no sinew, cubed, like she'll eat it.
I forget who the gal was we had on.
Lyndon. I'm just thinking of Lyndon. Anytime I hear organ meat, because
our
buddy Lyndon from Oregon, who invited us out 2 years ago for a blacktail hunt, he was explaining, and he had a good friend, Dylan. I think it was Dylan who started that. But all these health benefits of eating liver, and I think they're eating kidney and all this, heart, and all that. And he's like, like we just like it just didn't. It doesn't taste that great, so we just started throwing it in with our grind meat and our sausage.
That's smart.
So you're still getting nutritional benefit. You don't taste it, and I was like, "That's genius." So this year, everything's going in with my grind meat, and I'm gonna do it.
Well, what do you think is in real sausage?
Way worse.
You don't want to know.
They're not taking pork loin and grinding that up. That's like scrotums and freaking
hooves.
Yeah,
hooves and snouts.
Yeah.
Burgers.
You guys probably aren't wrong about that.
Because somebody's eating a hot dog right now. Mike's eating a hot dog. Sorry, Mike.
sorry for ruining your dinner.
Calder said, which thanks for the bourbon Calder, because this is from Calder, who's in New York, which is where that one came from. So it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
We miss you.
Yeah, heard 165. So that's just it. Like my dad actually, for I think it was Father's Day, got me the best meat thermometer I've owned ever. I don't know the name or the brand or anything like that. It's like this little yellow one. It is like stupid accurate. Like as soon as I turn it on, it's like got the air temperature instantly. And as soon as I penetrate the meat, it's like dialed in. It's a digital one. I don't know if you guys have gone through shitty meat thermometers.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I don't know why that's a thing. It's like the circle one with the hell. But this one, it pierces really good. It's like spot on. So I've been like using the shit out of that thing, because then I can show Holly. No, this is the temp it's supposed to be cooked at, and this is the temp it's at, and we're good.
Right.
And that makes
Proof is in the pudding.
that has made meals a lot more enjoyable, because then she's like questioning it, looking at it, shining her cell phone light on it. Like, does that look pink to you? Like it's like that scene from Soup. Does that look like spit to you?
Nah.
And truth be told, we're a consumer society that's like, trained to just trust the FDA on certain things. But like the reality is,
I trust
if you looked at like, your average factory farmed animal and what they go through and the processing floor and all that, I mean, there's so much bacteria and everything in that you have to cook it just as much as anything else.
Well, us human beings, we're pretty resilient. Like worst case scenario, you get the stomach bug for a little bit. It's not going to be a good day, but like you're not going to die.
Right.
Well, maybe trig. I don't know.
I knew a guy that was on a mountain lion hunt that ate some of that, and it was recurrent. Let's just say that. It would come out every once in a while, and he'd have an episode.
Not good.
From trigonosis.
Yeah.
That's ugly.
No.
Yeah, but still, he's alive.
Yes, to your point.
He's just living with that poor choice.
Just reminded every so often.
Toughen up. It's only dysentery.
Why'd you kill? How have you killed so many cougars? I just keep shooting those things. Just putting the hurt on that freaking species. There'd be a lot of dead bears if a bear ever gave me trig. I'd be on a rampage. Even though it's my fault, I got to take it out on someone.
Yeah, of course.
Or something.
That's a human trait too.
Oh man.
That's where the lever action comes in,
There
not
you
single shot.
Well, how good does it feel to do that has got to be one of the most iconic feelings. And I think it's like institutionalized. And if you look up that word and like the deep seating meaning that word has in our brains from kids watching cowboy movies.
For sure. Yeah.
Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
The fact that you guys own the brand that is Henry, it's like.
Yeah. My daughter, when she started to shoot, she went through every action type. She had a bolt action trainer gun first, and then she had at the time, still is, like the 1022 is so ubiquitous that like every kid ends up with one at one point. She wanted a pink one, or I thought she did, which she was too tomboy for it. But then I got her a lever gun, and as soon as she started levering it, she made that remark without any kind of coaching or wasn't hinting at anything, but she reacted to the action and the fact that it was manual and you're actually like
you're participating in it.
Yeah, exactly. You're not just pulling a trigger and
it's more iconic than even a pump shotgun. And a lot of us grew up, our first shotgun was the old 870 pump shotgun, and there's just something about you pull that release and drop the slide, and it's a thing. It's the same thing with opening the door on a lever gun.
No, it's also uniquely American among action types. I mean, other action types are from Europe primarily, but the lever gun is truly ours.
That's 12 years old, sitting opening day. I had Grandpa's 30-30. You already called it 30-30 lever action.
30-30 lever action.
Hunted with that my first 2 years. My dad's got it now. I actually thought about bringing that sucker out of retirement and trying to take deer down this year.
Yeah,
open sights, 30-30 lever action.
Perfect walking gun.
Well, yeah, for still hunting and brush busting. It's not a super heavy bullet, but I think you could get it done up north.
Yeah,
it'd be fun.
Yeah,
might have to do it.
Shot placement.
Yeah,
placement.
I mean, it's this kind of stuff. It's for me, it is a lot about you guys heard me talk, like the romanticizing of deer camp, deer woods, all of that stuff. But like, this is one of those for me where I feel like it's a matter of time before I'm holding one of these, doing a still hunt. And for those that listen, because I know we do have a number of people that are new to hunting, and just because like I wouldn't have known still hunting as a type of hunting where you're taking a few steps, stopping, watching, observing, listening. Like you're using wait till an airplane flies over, or a nice breeze kicks in, or dogs, whatever it is. And like that type of hunting is less boring. You cover a lot of ground. It's hard to know when you can do it around here because it's so pressured. Like you're probably going to ruin someone's hunt 9 times out of 10.
Probably not super ideal.
So you got to find, like, I think like the Hal Bloods of the world where they're way up in, was it northern Maine or whatever it is?
Yeah. And I think those guys are moving a little bit faster than actual still hunting because they're cutting a track and they're actually tracking them. Still hunting is where you're almost like surprising them in their bed, and a lot of shots that you get are you just woke one up and they get up and they run. I mean, I still hunted New York like on public land. That's how I cut my teeth basically. So I didn't hunt out of a stand until I moved to Wisconsin. I didn't have access to private property for the most part until I had my own backyard. So
still hunting is an art of its own, obviously.
Yeah.
Knowing how to move quietly and how fast you can go, where you can still look, and it depending on each person. And then you throw tracking on top, which the art is not only being able to follow and read a track, but knowing when to slow down and start your still hunt. So if the track's old, you have to burn rubber and try to catch this deer, but you also have to know when. Okay, this deer seems like it's feeding or slowing down or approaching a thick area. And if you don't slow down, that deer's busted. So these guys, like the Hal Bloods, also know when to read that. And now I slow down and I look behind every deadfall. And like, that's a whole different league. It's pretty high level stuff.
Yeah.
And when you start seeing deer, you know that you're doing something right, even if they're moving ahead of you a little bit. Because if you're doing it completely wrong, they're moving ahead of you like by a mile
before you even notice, right? Yep.
But if you're pushing them and you're seeing tails, at least you're half right. And then so like the best advice I ever got was if you think you're walking slow down to about half that pace. And then when I really started to slow down and I really started to just like take my time and go through it, because sometimes they'll spy you and they won't move, they won't necessarily flush, they'll just you you'll be standing there and you'll see like an ear flick, or you'll catch like an eye through like some heavy stuff, and they don't waste calories.
No,
No,
for real. Yeah,
they
that's a
don't.
good point.
Yeah, they understand that to a degree that they're camouflage, and if
Yeah.
stillness is their camouflage, a lot of times they'll remain still, and you'd be like, I can't believe I got that close.
Yeah.
It's because they couldn't believe you didn't see it yet,
Right. And it's happens a lot when I used to deer hunt up your neck of the woods with my uncle. He's like, you get bored, don't hesitate to get down. There's a ton of land here. It was all paper company land up there. So you just get down and you slowly walk. And that's what he said. If you think you're walking slow, go even slower.
Yeah.
And just look around and look around. And I don't know how many we couldn't shoot does, but I would bump does all the time and turn around and look, and there's one staring at me from the other side of the ridge. Where did you come from? And, watch it bust out. And I wonder where it was, so you go and find its tracks in the snow, because it's when we actually had snow up there. And shit, it was like 30 yards away from where I saw it. It was bedded, big melted spot in the snow down to the pine needles. It's like, okay. And you look at it and go, oh yeah, there's a crown up a ridge here. There's a little bit of a crown here. And the wind was going over her back, and it's just all those things you kind of put together. The snow really helps you do that, but still hunting gets you out there and gets you in their element. It's
the
a lot
whole
of fun.
Go slower than you think I struggle with.
It's
A
tough.
lot.
I'm not a patient person by nature, so I get
That's
it.
a human
It's-
nature thing,
yeah,
right?
it
Like
is
the
a human
immediate
Yeah,
gratification.
you get it in your
and I just
mind.
wanna-
You get it in your mind that I want to be back to the truck by dark, and if I want to make this loop, I'm going to have to really haul ass to get through here.
And we're so destination oriented
We
too.
are.
Like even if
Yeah.
we're still hunting this, like, well, I really want to get to the edge of the river. So like,
Yeah.
maybe I go a little bit faster this first 400 yards when really.
Yeah.
Well, and you're also cognizant of like the deeper you walk your way in. If you do shoot something, you got to walk it back out. So it's that's
There's
That
that.
doesn't come until later. We got a
Yeah.
good guest coming up for that topic. Guy that we met at phone. I met him at phone.
Dylan?
Fest, but he got a double hernia from that exact paradigm.
oh man.
So I'm excited to hear that story.
Yeah,
But
that-
you stalked that one in your socks that one year. Like, how long did that feel? How long did it actually take?
I wish I knew. I wish I had
Just like in general.
I would say, man, it wasn't a long distance. It was bow hunting. I spotted this deer bed down and decided to get down and get close was my best option.
Mhm.
So it wasn't a far distance. It was probably like 90 yards from the tree. Took off the boots. I bet you it took an hour because it was like gusty winds and I would only move. It was all dry leaves. It was November. So like it was just moving when the wind was blowing. But the hardest part was I could see his freaking rack sticking up.
Mm.
And
And you're
you can
thinking
see
anytime
a
he's gonna
rack,
bust
that
me.
immediate
Trying to put that,
gratification.
put that
Like
out
when
your
you
head.
can see them, you're
Yeah.
like, oh, I just got to get there. Like just got to get
Yeah.
there. But like it probably took an hour to cover
Mhm.
Yeah.
70 yards.
And you also want to, like, there would have been a sense of urgency around the fact that, like, if he gets up, I'm not ready. Or
Yeah.
what if he gets up right now?
Thinking about which
Or-
foot I move forward so that I was in shooting stance was like a constant thought. Like if he does get up, I got to have like my right foot's got to be forward. Otherwise, I'm going to have no chance of moving at all.
Right.
And then it just luckily worked out.
Yeah. That's intense. That's the kind of stuff where it's like, he's going to get up on the wrong foot, or I'm not going to. Yeah. The things that can go wrong do go wrong 9 times out of 10. It's when they
Mhm.
go right when you're like, I can't believe that worked.
Well, I'm not a gambler by nature, but there's a little bit of a gambler element to being a hunter, because it's like, how many days do you crap out? And then the one day that you get one down, you're like, yeah, I knew it. It's like, no, you didn't. Like you're in the right place at the right
It all
time.
came together. It all
it's
came
like,
together.
The stars aligned one day
Yeah.
for 1 hour.
I only froze my ass off for 24 days this year. It's-
But that's
Yeah.
what makes it work. You probably made a lot of
Mhm.
error in those 24 days to like make all the right moves. I already learned 10 lessons this week.
yeah.
Yeah.
And good idea with the socks too. I mean, I started doing that a couple of years ago, just even around the house. Like, if I see something run past the back of the house, like a fox or something, I've gone out in socks and just walked the perimeter. And if it was hanging around, its chances of hearing me are much less than if I
Mhm.
It's
stomped
wild.
all over the place with boots.
It's
Yep.
wild how different it is.
Yeah.
And you can feel everything under toe.
Yep.
You certainly can.
If you're about to snap something, you can
You
back
just
off
back
it.
off
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, you can feel. That's the thing. With the
Mhm.
soul, and although you don't know what you're about to break.
Yeah.
See, all the lessons just coming together here. I
Yeah.
love it. But yeah, doing a still hunt with Henry is something that sounds like, especially up in your neck of the woods where there's so much room to run around.
Well, even the marshes by me, like you get a deer up in front of you, a 12 gauge or a 30-30. And a 12 gauge with a short barrel, that old 870 I had.
Do you got a
with
saw?
the-
Do you have
with-
to? Do you have to file the barrel?
No. There's no filing involved. No filing.
Just checking.
Mind out of the gutter, Eric.
You're the one that brought it up.
So I accidentally shot a deer, or accidental still hunted a deer in Illinois a couple of years ago. I was telling them the story on the way in. I was on my way to a stand for an afternoon sit. Got rained on all morning, so they changed my spot, and I'm walking across this cornfield. Wind is straight in my face, and I can see where my stand is. It's like just inside the wood line. So I get to the ladder, and I put my foot up on the ladder, and as soon as the metal clanged, I see a pair of antlers turn in the brush. He was bedded down like 10 yards from the stand.
Really?
So he didn't smell me coming in because the wind was straight in my face as I'm walking across the cornfield. So I had just enough time that, as a matter of fact, the same gun, I put the gun up. I don't remember cocking the hammer. He just like got out of his bed and turned. And as soon as he turned, I had him like quartering away. But yeah, it's a method that works, even by accident sometimes.
When the wind's in your favor, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Because Illinois, you can use a straight wall cartridge.
Yep.
So
Correct?
yeah, the
Yep,
whole
during their shotgun season.
Yep, the whole point of that cartridge and that rifle was the first year you were allowed to use single shot rifles in Illinois.
Yeah, which is one of the reasons I bought the 350 Legend because of that. And Iowa has a similar rule with their muzzleloader seasons and shotgun seasons that you can use straight wall cartridges. So those of you mulling over the idea listening, maybe your
That's smart.
opportunity pool just opened up a little bit.
I like. Yeah, that's a good point. There's a lot of like nuances like that I'm not aware of at all.
Well, I just learned them all from Bo.
Bo's a good dude.
Yeah, he is.
That's cool. What else? Trying to think. There were other things I wanted to ask and talk about, but I also didn't check in with you guys to see what kind of questions you guys had.
I'm pretty sure I know which caliber it is, but what's the preferred caliber for you still hunting whitetail in your lever gun if you're going to lever gun it?
I don't know that I have one. I'm kind of
You have a lot of you're in a different position than most people too. Considering you work for the company, you probably have like
your
pick.
Early on. I mean, I was when the kids were small and money was tight, and I had very little room for guns. I shot my first like 10 head of game with a 30-06, and that was like it. And then for whatever reason, I went down the rifle and caliber rabbit hole, and got Looney Tunes with all the different like I had metric stuff, I had obsolete stuff, black powder era stuff, like everything you could think of. I went like I chased it down, and then found out that none of them really did anything more or less. So I went full circle, and I shot a lot with 308.
Yeah,
308 seems to be like a like a standby. The 360 came on board, because a few years ago we worked with Remington on it, and then I was on a couple of media hunts. So by default, I ended up fielding it more than I probably would have otherwise. So that's how it ended up in a permanent stable. But any 30 caliber, really, 30-30, 308. It depends on the, if you're anticipating a shot that's beyond 200 yards, I'd say 308 gets the nod for sure.
Sure. And a 308's only 200 to 250 feet per second slower than an 06. You're not loading it up as heavy with 180 grain bullets, but what are you looking at me like that?
The knowledge pouring out of your brain, Gregory.
Useless knowledge.
It's only 70 feet per second faster than 21 gigawatts.
And 16 grains is not going to make that big a difference, but it will.
It's refreshing. I can't have these conversations at home, so I can call you now that I know you. Give me your number.
This is what happens to old Tubbs here.
That's why you're the guru, my friend. That's why you're the guru.
Yeah. The guru of nothing, but a little bit of everything.
But it comes in handy one day, right?
Yeah, it totally does.
That day is today.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And all of you get to reap the rewards.
He knew what he was walking into today. He understood the assignment. That's exciting.
Well done.
But I have people like this guy to help me along the way, because I'm like, hey man, what do I do? What does this work? And like, I'm the kind of guy that you can talk to me all day about this and it's not going to sink in. I have to do it. And once that happens, it's locked in forever.
Yeah.
Like I will now know how to do that thing forever. It's the talking about it that like, kind of, but talking about it first helps a lot, because then it's like the proper order of things that should be happening. If you've never been to a Packer, have you been to a Packer game yet here?
I know this is sacrilege in Wisconsin, but I'm not a football fan.
That's okay. But just I bring that up because if someone's in Wisconsin and they haven't done that, you've heard Packer tailgating being
I
talked
hear
about.
all about it all day long.
And then when
you
you finally do it, you're like, oh,
Yeah.
this is all the stuff. And now I understand. And now it's making sense. I'm using a really dumb example, but
No, it's not in Wisconsin. It's,
yeah.
it's actually like perfect.
Yeah. But anyway, it's that like that process of osmosis, so to speak. And then eventually you get to do the thing and it sticks with you. So anytime I get to hang out with Craig and he's like doing something and then I get to try it out myself, I'm like, oh, okay, I got it now.
Well, there's so many different little like rabbit holes you can go down in this industry and in the shooting world. You know, you can
endless,
be into
right?
old timey calibers. Like I mentioned metric calibers before. I mean, I know guys that shoot, only like 6.5 by 55 and 9.362, and it's, like everybody has their own little world that they occupy. Some people are just straight up Glock fanboys, won't shoot any other auto load. Like
you also get you get comfortable in what you have learned,
Mhm.
and then that's what you know, and it gets
That becomes
uncomfortable.
gospel
It gets
almost.
uncomfortable to get outside of your comfort zone. Like if you lose, I mean, like, gosh, I'm like really struggling with my words together because it's the day that I talked about when we got here. I'm just totally off my rocker today, but you have to be willing to look stupid to learn something new for a little bit.
And I think
that is a
that's-
really uncomfortable feeling for people, especially in a world where you got a lot of guys that really do know their shit.
for guys especially, I think it's intimidating for the ego
Mhm.
aspect of it. I mean, I was lucky when I was being mentored. I came into it pretty late in life, and there were some gun shops you walked into, especially in New York. There were few and far between. Where it was like if you weren't already indoctrinated, like they didn't pay any attention to you, didn't want to know you. And then I was lucky enough to hook up with some people that didn't take that approach to hunting and shooting, and were kind of happy to take somebody under their wing. And if not for them, donating their time and being patient, I wouldn't have been able to absorb anything. Just having that opportunity. So, and it's nice to be in the company of people that are in the spirit of passing that on, because that's what keeps us going.
Yeah, I think there's some people that would look at a wobbly fawn and be like, look at that stupid thing, it can't walk, push it over.
Mhm.
And there's other people like, oh my God, that thing can't walk, let's help it. Like I think the people that are like the latter, that are the ones that help you, that's what we need more of in general.
Yeah.
There are people that are like, hey, he doesn't know his stuff, let's help him.
And that can be the sad reality in just about anything
Of
that
course
you
it
do,
can,
right?
yeah.
Like that upper echelon to like friendly reminder
Snowboarding.
to all.
Fishing,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
pick a thing.
Sure.
Don't be the highbrow jerk who,
Yeah.
scoffs at the newbie. Like
I mean, you're sitting pretty high
Take
up in
a
that chair right now. I don't know.
pretty high.
Bring it down.
I can't see
Don't
any
be
of
the
your
highbrow.
hat. I can't see any of the buttons on your hat, so I don't believe you.
And also don't forget that the antis perceive us as, they see the killing part of it as being the end all. Like that's the only thing that occurs. They don't know about the camaraderie, the help, the giving other people a leg up. And I mean, I've my first couple of deer that I shot, people passed on their own opportunity to shoot something to give me a chance just because they knew I didn't get anything. So
Yeah.
those types of selfless acts are something that the outside world doesn't see or even know about. So we should do a better job internally of policing that.
Yeah.
Got some good dialogue happening in the
Yeah,
comments here,
so-
because Tony just jumped in to answer that question. But Calder asked 30-30 with 150 or 180 inch grain for big woods
180
whitetail.
grain.
Yeah, but also depends on what your flies better out of your rifle.
Yeah, it does
Like,
that.
if you're hitting your
but
mark with a
then-
150, I don't think a 150 is not going to go down a whitetail.
Yeah.
But bullet construction trumps weight a lot of times.
Always.
So.
Yeah, it depends on the bullet. He answered it right. I think 180s for shorter ranges. If you got a lot of brush in the way, a heavier bullet's going to go through brush a lot better. Where if you got more open woods, a 150 is going to give you a little more distance and shoot a little flatter. Depends. I know that's probably not the answer he was looking for.
Well, there's no hard, fast answer
No,
for any of
there
these.
isn't.
And I think the bullet construction thing you mentioned is
Yep.
solid because, man, over the years, trying lots of different bullets and finding some that, like, man, I love finding that mushroomed out bullet in the
Yep.
offside hide.
Mhm.
That's a beautiful thing because every ounce of energy went into that animal.
Yep.
I really like that. Like,
Yeah.
that's where you find that. You just stick
Mhm.
to it. If it flies good out of your rifle and it's killing animals, do
Yep.
that.
I found 3 bullets like that in a whitetail a few years back. I
That
think it
you
was-
shot or that someone else shot?
It was that one. I shot it 3
This
times.
one?
Yeah, it's the one that Joel sniffed out of the woods. because he found all 3 bullets in it. He's like, let's dig around, and there it was. Thankfully, he found the deer too. The guy's a maniac.
I found that the animal's state matters more than the caliber, or even more than placement sometimes. Like I've seen deer come in, head down feeding, had no idea you were there, and you shoot them and they're just DRT.
Yep.
Then I've seen other ones, they come in, they're already like the adrenaline's already pumping into their bloodstream, their ears are up, they're stomping, and those you shoot and it's off to the races, even if you made a good hit on them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think their state is important the more that I observe.
I agree.
I think one of the weirdest encounters, I wouldn't say weirdest encounters, I've had a few. But I remember I shot a deer one year and he clearly he had no idea where I was, obviously. But he ran right at me and didn't realize that he came up the ridge and I'm sitting on the ground. I'm like, oh. And he's like, ah!
Yeah, put the
and
brakes
then
on.
I think it like all revved up and they went and piled up. Yeah. And I was like, oh man, I almost just got ran over. It was like pretty intense.
Hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah, you never want to be downhill. That's
a good point.
Yeah,
because you could tumble and roll.
Yeah.
Holy cow. So anything new for 2025, 2026 that's not embargo that you can talk about, or
yeah, we don't like to divulge too much before an official release
and teasers.
Just
but I get it. If you can,
but SHOT Show is that's like the main debut for the industry, so you'll see new products there.
You guys have a big booth there?
We do now, yeah.
So that's been a progression for you then too. Do you guys start in the basement?
Yeah, well, we used to hit the NRA. In my time there, we hit the NRA show very hard for all these 20 years, and SHOT we kind of came back to. I used to go and just have meetings with because I handled the export accounts also. So I'd have meetings with some of my importers, so I didn't have to go to Germany and do any of the international trade shows. They basically were in the U.S., so I took advantage of it, and so I would just go and have those solo meetings, and then slowly it got more and more evident to us that as we did the range day and these other things that we needed a presence at SHOT again. So for the last 4 years, we've been back.
It's a big, intimidating, overwhelming, exhausting show.
It's a big show.
In a crummy town.
Yeah, I'm not a Vegas guy, but it's...
Some people are, and I'm not one of them either.
No.
But it's I think
it's a good place for that.
20,000 steps typically, like it's
easy, and everything looks so close because of that desert air. It does that Jedi mind thing. you think the what is it? Which one has like the Egyptian theme? Luxor.
Okay.
The Luxor, I think.
Yeah, I think
but you see it, it looks like it's right there. You can touch it, but you've walked 8 miles to get to it. And it's just everything's like that on the Strip.
I'd like to get to the Sphere. Like if I'm going to be a tourist, that's the one thing I think I'd actually try to give a shit about trying out because like it just looks so neat. But other than that, I don't give a crap at all.
No, you can see like somebody who has a residency that you haven't heard of in 25 years, and all of a sudden
how am I paying
a resurgence? Creative surge hit them.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. We'll have to visit you guys and say hi at SHOT or whatever. I'm sure like it's just back to back meetings and dinners and lunches. You try to fit all in. You don't know how you're going. Where's this restaurant? You're walking down weird places. And
the 11 o'clock at night steaks are a killer. That's something that everything else I can do in stride, but the late dinners that
they go late.
They go late and
town doesn't shut down.
They're heavy.
We had a good dinner with the Nosler crew last. It was the last SHOT Show in January. That feels like a long time ago.
Yeah,
there was a sushi joint, and they just kept bringing stuff. I don't even know what the hell was going on. Lots of sake.
The food is great in Vegas. I mean, the food is, it's everything. It's like any other major city where everything comes to you. You don't have to search it out. So that's a little different than parts of the Midwest.
Yeah,
really.
A little bit. The only thing I miss. That's the only time.
When they say like fresh fish, I'm like,
fresh
fresh fish, huh? I'm not in Maine. I'm not in Seattle. Like, bullshit. Like, how did it get here?
Define fresh.
Well, if it's walleye or northern
or
bluegill, I trust it.
We can do that.
We do like our fish fries here.
Yeah, perch.
It's a different story.
Oh, I'm all about them. All about them. Bluegills especially.
You and Matt are like, you're doing a lot of pan fishing. Are you not keeping all your fish and cutting them up?
I haven't. The last time I've actually kept a fish was Minnesota. with the
Selfishly,
family.
I'm just like, when am I going to get a fish fry from the OK's Fisher guys?
Yeah, well, we got to go out and fish and catch dinner first.
Uh-huh.
Well, Matt's not filleting a 48-inch muskie, so
No,
that's not
that is-
happening
that is
now.
That's true.
It's
No.
fall.
That's true. So luckily, unfortunately, Zach Hansen introduced us. Zach is the host of the OK's Trapper podcast on our work. Do you trap? Are you trapping here in Wisconsin?
Yeah, actually, that's where I started trapping.
Really?
Yeah, I hunted for the better part of 10 years before I started trapping.
How did you two come to meet each other, and how did you get on this podcast? Like, how did that all go down?
So I think he bumped into my boss, the owner-founder, Anthony Imparato, on LinkedIn.
Okay.
And then we exchanged some, emails internally, and somebody name dropped me because they knew that I mess around with raccoons and skunks in my spare time. So I got to be the guy, and met Zach and did his show, and
That's awesome.
turned out we had a lot in common. I mean, even similar like backdoor into the whole outdoor world and all that. So he knew a lot of the places I mentioned in New York where I grew up, and I had a very urban upbringing compared to a lot of people, but compared to the people I work with now, especially.
Yes,
and they it turns out that young guys get into trouble regardless of whether they're in a city or on a farm. Like
It's weird how that
different
works.
kind of trouble, but trouble nonetheless.
It might involve a tractor, whereas ours was a train. But one way or the other, you figure out how to get into mischief. So
Yeah, that's funny.
yeah, but it was good.
That's cool. So what are you dispatching them with? And you have a different, are you dispatching animals that you're trapping?
Yeah, I mean, so I am a fan of conibear traps, which that's a kill trap. They dispatch for you.
Oh,
but
okay.
footholds, so 22 lever guns. That's like kind of the standard.
Yeah, that's awesome. Are you keeping the furs and?
Yeah, I am. I felt kind of bad about just like chucking them, and had the long winters to contend with, so figured may as well do something productive. And I mentioned like I'm a meat hunter, so I'm all about like using as much of it as I can. So every like raccoon or skunk I got in the beginning, I was actually processing and taught myself tanning, and like I told Zach, made every mistake in the book in the beginning.
He did too.
I ended up
cool.
and he sent me his book after, and I was like, holy crap, this is like I could have written this. Like, why didn't I think to? But every crazy ass looking like fox with a weird face, and starry-eyed raccoons that were like all cut out and stuff, but got progressively better at it, and now it's pretty much down, like where I can
That's awesome.
turn out a finished product that looks nice.
You used to do a little bit of trapping back in the day.
Yeah, I did when furs were worth something, and my neighbor had a major
They're worth the
raccoon
memory.
problem.
Okay.
Yeah, they were worth the memory, but I didn't go through trapper safety. A friend of mine, I would accompany him on trap lines going after mostly mink and muskrat, and then we would do damaged coons. So we would go farm to farm, and but I got cats. No problem. We got box traps. So I learned to get really proficient with box traps, what baits to use, what baits not to use. And I learned how to skin pretty quickly, what not to do with skinning. And my buddy had been doing it for 30 years. So he's like, yeah, this is how you skin one. And yeah, don't cut. Oh, too late. You cut too close to that. Well, no problem. This is how you work around it. So I had somebody to mentor me around it. But it was good. I mean, some of the raccoons I would get, I'd dispatch them. I just had a Ruger single 6, and I'd put CB caps in there and dispatch them out of the trap with that one hole. Furs got enough holes if you're not good with a knife. So one small.
All my furs have lots of holes.
Yeah, I came to like the lung shot more than the headshot.
Really?
I found the headshot was real messy, especially with skinning. Because you're pulling everything down, then it's gravity takes its toll and stuff's leaking out, but the lung shot, especially when it's cold out, if you didn't get a pass through with like shorts or CVs, you just have the one hole, and as you skin and you're if you case skinning and you pull it down, you just have the one hole that could be leaking, but most of it's still contained in the body cavity. Yeah.
I think his reason for headshot is you didn't have a hole in like a part of the pelt that was mostly used or more favored. So that's just what I did. But it makes sense to me that if you're using a light load, lung shot, and let them bleed out, but even still, they make a mess. So you try to get them out of a box trap as quick as you possibly can, and then hose it off. And most of the time, they're not touching that box trap for a while.
Funny that you mentioned the cats because being new and trying to figure out the bait aspect of it, I checked out all the YouTube videos and read as much as I could. And we had a cat that was a rescue that we were fond of, and was always hanging around the house and didn't want to trap the thing. So I had a live trap. I'm trying to think of like all the different baits that the cat wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole. So I settled on marshmallows and maple syrup.
Mm-hmm.
So loaded it up, and a couple of days later, I see the door is down. I'm like, yeah, I got something. Probably a raccoon, maybe a skunk. Go out there. The thing is meowing like crazy, covered in maple syrup. I mean, fur just like matted to its body. So not only did I have to get a terrified and semi-pissed cat out of there, but then had to queen him up and get him, back into kitty shape. So
not
Oh
good.
my gosh.
What a mess.
Yeah.
Our best bait was definitely the crappy candy hearts that you would get in grade school. The chalky Starks candy hearts. Best thing ever.
Yeah.
Because they're not sticky. I mean, you could throw some kind of jelly in that trap too, but anything sweet. But they seem to like we just throw a handful of candy hearts at the back of the trap. We wouldn't get anything else. You might get a possum once in a while, a rabbit, just because it was in an area where rabbits were running around and it got flushed in there. But raccoons seem to like the candy hearts.
Is there a shot placement for skunks not to spray so far? I can't figure that one out.
I've had people say the guts, like shoot them in the guts, but I don't know.
I've heard people say the heart shot has greater success than the head. The head is almost a guarantee spray.
Yep, I can confirm that.
Most of mine were Conibear. Yeah. Did you get sprayed?
Well, my backyard did.
Yeah.
I did not.
Yeah.
I stayed about 20 yards away, but the headshot, there was a pretty good release.
Yeah. I've been unpopular on a few mornings where, I mean, that smell just permeates everything.
So potent.
It's brutal. It just, and I mean, if you do it enough, you get kind of used to it and you're like semi-immune, but not the rest of your family.
No, not so much.
I hope I never do it enough to be semi-immune.
Yeah.
Well, the website is henryusa.com, right? Is that, you guys have other domain names, or is that like the one?
That's the one, yeah.
henryusa.com. And you guys are on, it looks like Instagram, Facebook, X, YouTube. Are you guys on Rumble and LinkedIn? You guys, and the fact that your boss and Zach connected on LinkedIn tells us something too. Like, you're doing a good job across all those platforms.
Yeah, our social media guys are, and I'm not that guy. I'm,
okay.
I'm the guy that's into rifles from the 1920s. But our social media guys that are in their 20s, they do a fantastic job.
That's cool. And I'd say that to bring the plane in for a landing, I suppose. But I want to make sure people know where to go. Obviously, big enough brand where it's not going to be very difficult. You can type in Henry Repeating Arms and you're going to get to where you probably need to be. But sometimes I like to call it out because as a rifle manufacturer, and sometimes if you go type in your brand name on Instagram, you're restricted from showing up in searches.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to click the link in your website to get to the social channels. So that's common in this industry for us folk out in those channels.
Well, there was also a period during COVID, especially where product was scarce. They had all these like dummy pages where, that you'd go to a page and it had like a retail price tag, and, it was just like a shell company of some kind that
steal money from people and shit. Weird. Yeah. Any okayest moments other than, tripping and making sure your gun's still okay, or like
so many.
any of that, as you've been sitting here talking with us, any of that kind of come to mind where you're like, I'll share that one?
The one that comes to mind automatically is I was lucky when I started to have success. I had great success, and I was like a one-shot wonder. And I used to read stuff like, why does anybody need a follow-up shot? They always go down the first time I hit them. And then I had a very humbling experience in Newfoundland on a moose that I shot facing me and got into one lung. And apparently moose can go very far with another lung.
That's a pretty big lung.
It's a big lung.
Yeah. And it was a long day, and everything, you can think of went through my head, like, we're not going to recover this thing. I wounded this thing. There's blood all over the place. And like, you just can't believe that it got through that, but you're in that mode where you're desperate to recover it and, make sure that it's not going to suffer. And that was an okayest moment for sure.
Did you recover it?
I did. Yeah. I mean, much later in the day.
But it died off of the one shot.
No.
Took another one.
Yeah. A couple more.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but it was humbling, and it was a valuable lesson, because up to that point, I think, I wasn't arrogant, but I felt it maybe came too easy to me in retrospect. So it was kind of like put me back in my place and knocked me down a few pegs.
We need that as humans from time
Yeah.
to time. And the woods are really good at making sure that and God and the deer woods will humble the shit out of you.
Yes,
real
they
quick.
are.
Great at reminding you how bad you are.
My life's going great. Thanks. God's like, wait a second. I'm not done teaching you something.
That's absolutely true.
Humility. Here you go.
Yeah. Here's
You're
more of
welcome.
that. I wonder how some people get through, not that they're getting through, but like the people that have gone so far. I mean, we're all relatively youngish. Okay. We're not in our 20s, but we're not in our 80s or our 70s. There's 70, 80-year-olds that you meet that are just as dumb as a 21-year-old. I'm like, did you not learn anything through the last 80 years of your life? Or did you just stop giving a shit? What's going on here? I feel like you should know better, but okay.
It's like being too insular and not exposing yourself to, you hit the nail on the head before, you're not opening yourself up to that experience where you might fail.
Yeah.
And I think if you're unwilling to put yourself out there and, take that risk, I don't think you'll learn much.
Mm-hmm. I think that's why I like these guys, and we all seem to get along. Zach's another one. I bring him up because you're on a show, but I think his Instagram handle is "Let Me Die Learning."
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't spell it out for you right there.
No.
It's like, that's right in front of your face. It's cool.
For sure.
Well, thanks for driving all the way down here. I always hate
thanks
when
for the invite.
people came all the way down, just for us. That's
okay.
But it also means a lot, though.
It's another part of the state I haven't seen yet. So
there you go.
I'm here for 7 years. I haven't been out this way.
There's some good eats in Oconomowoc. The Crafty Cow is a fun spot. I imagine it's open today.
Okay.
It's Tuesday.
I can nail the name of the town. I feel like I did something.
There's a really good Mexican joint in the strip mall across from your hotel.
Okay.
Called El Jimador.
Okay.
It's delicious.
Good.
And I hate strip mall restaurants because I'm like, this is boring.
Yeah.
Where's the character? But the
This
character's
one's
in the
legit.
food. It's good food.
And if you don't have any hunts planned for December after the whole gun deer season winds down, highly recommend a tailgate at Lambeau because it's not about the football.
Yeah.
It is not about
It's
the
not.
football.
It's about
like
the
some
people,
people don't
and
even go
you'll
into the
love it.
game.
It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's an experience.
Lambeau in December.
And it's
About
all
as good as
bleachers.
it
The whole
gets.
stadium is bleachers. There's no one gets a special seat in
We
that
don't have to
stadium.
go in the stadium.
But just in general, when you do, you're just
you
like,
can just chill in the parking lot all day. You'll be good. I promise. You'll be good.
That's something I like a lot about Wisconsin. That's definitely the ability to enjoy the simple things. It's not New York, or not just New York, but I guess the coastal cities. You have a tendency to just chase that elite atmosphere and exclusivity or whatever. And here it's just like, even golf is different here. Golf to me in the Northeast was like all guys in like pink pants and like sweaters, but here it's like guys that I work with, like they'll from the factory floor go and play golf
In sandals.
Yeah.
yeah.
Crocs. You guys are all about your Crocs.
My kids just got new Crocs 2 days ago.
I had someone. Oh boy. I had someone. I was shooting the bow in the studio here, just getting the form down and trying to learn, and I had my Crocs on. I think they're actually my Mucks, but they're like very similar.
Yeah.
And one of the comments on Facebook was like, "I know all I need to know. You're wearing Crocs. You have a low IQ." I was like, "What?" Like,
Right away
they
he's
must have been
hating
from
on
New
you.
York. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
It's like, you elitist.
We love you, Calder. We're not dissing New York.
He's not like the rest of. No, I was kidding. Yeah, it's an interesting world we live in where people get behind keyboards and they get some big balls. It's
Stereotypes.
Yeah.
That's what it
crazy.
is.
But anyway, no, thanks again for coming down this way. Hopefully you give a good. I think the hotel you're in is like one of the newer ones. So hopefully not too many people have clipped their toenails on or anything too weird. Yeah.
I've seen so many hotels at this point. That I wake up. I don't even know where I am anymore.
Oh man, we had to stay at Circus because we're cheap as shit here at OKS Hunter.
Didn't they blow that place up?
I don't know. Well, they didn't 2 years ago. We were there, and I'm like reading the reviews online, and it's pictures that were like from yesterday, essentially, of like bed bugs, and people are bleeding.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
that was a thing.
I was messaging my buddy Tyler. I was like, I know we're like trying to ball on a budget here, buddy, but like, what are we doing? It was $50 a night. That's unheard of.
Yeah.
I brought my own sleeping bag,
For a
and,
reason.
and he was making fun of me. I was like, "You man, I'm bringing my own. I'm not getting into those covers. Are you out of your mind?"
Oh man.
And I didn't. I never did. And he thought it was the funniest thing in the world. I was like, "Oh, whatever. I'm not going to have bed bugs, bro."
I would have thought Tyler would have been the one freaking
Yeah,
out.
I thought-
I would have guaranteed he was the one freaking.
He didn't see the
Tie
pictures
back
that I
suit
saw.
and all.
When I hear Circus, I just think of Fear and Loathing Las Vegas.
Yes.
It is disgusting.
when he walks in there, and if you haven't seen that, see that.
Be prepared to see
I
that.
think it was probably amazing way back in the day. Back when you could smoke in your rooms because you can still smell it.
Yeah, I think the strip of the 40s and 50s, like that Rat Pack era, was probably something to behold. You know,
I'm
if
sure.
that's your thing, you know. But
Yeah.
it had like a different kind of like glam to it.
Yes.
Than, you know, it's just
Like
not
almost
my thing.
Almost elegance.
Yeah. Well, everything was more elegant back then. Guys wore like, you know, a shirt and tie to get a haircut. Like,
Yeah.
it's like,
Hence
Yeah.
the traditionalists. You know, everything's got a little bit more,
Mhm.
a little more meaning back then.
Cool. Well, I'll wrap it up, folks. Thanks for tuning in. I didn't mention in the beginning just because we have a guest and I get excited and I want to like jump in. But if you haven't had a chance to see all the new stuff Latitude has brought out, it's amazing. Like the Method 3 is everything it says it is, and sadly, it's better than the Method 2. And I'm only sad by that because that's been my saddle for the last 3-4 years. So I'm like happy and sad at the same time. It's a little bit of a mixed emotion. Rat Cub, who you guys know, it's Huts holding us dear here, the antler behind Derek. And then Gerber, the sign that's been on display this whole podcast. We just finally got around to shipping out a bunch of the co-branded knives from Gerber and OKS Hunter from our giveaway. Sorry for the late turnaround on that. We got most everything sent out. I know we've been tagging a few things of people showing the prizes that they won from inventory season, but I think we just about got everyone covered finally. So appreciate everybody for tuning in. And if you haven't already gone over to iTunes to give a rating and review to help us reclaim the fact that I had duplicate feeds there, that would be fantastic. Really appreciate it. So yeah, have a good